Strategy and management. On their own, the two words might not conjure up much excitement, but put them together and you've got a powerful planning process. A system you can use to tackle your most pressing issues and get your business moving towards its long-term goals. Aileron's Strategic Management Workshop will give you the know-how and tools you need to get started. We recently sat down with Dave Sullivan, one of the workshop's facilitators, to learn more about this hands-on program. Okay, Dave, so what is covered in the workshop?
Well, first and foremost, they'll get the overview of a process and that they could employ if they wish to do so. We also provide planning forms and formats, and we have examples and samples of just about everything we're talking about in the class. So when they come in, first and foremost, they get a process outlined to them. They've got facilitators in front of them who are practitioners who do this for a living. We are dealing with their issues in a workshop format because they're coming in teams, so they're working on their own programs, their own plans, and when they walk out of here, they ought to be a good 1/3 to half of the way completed in what they're doing in launching their plan. As far as tools, there are tools that how to do a strengths weaknesses analysis. There are tools on how to do an environmental analysis. There are tools that teach you how to do planning assumptions, how to get down to what your priority issues are. And then there are tools that tell you how to set objectives, strategies, and action plans. And then we also have templates for all of those, as well as a review process that's designed to help you keep the plan on track. So it's a variety of tools, samples, and examples that they can use in their business. And more importantly, they walk out of here with the support of Aileron to help them really go through this and get it done for their businesses. So we're not abandoning them at the end of the 2 days. It starts our relationship.
And who would benefit from attending?
I think if I look at who the course is designed for, first and foremost, I think it's designed for the business owner so that he or she understands the importance of having a plan, starting with the vision process all the way down to the execution. Secondly, I think it's the senior management teams or those who are going to have to help put that plan together, and more importantly, they're the people who are charged with executing the plan and making sure that it's successfully implemented. So it really has been aimed so far at talking to business owners, presidents, executive directors, and also their top management team. And the goal being to make sure that there's a process for addressing issues in front of them, that they don't just go to work, they go to work with a focus.
Okay, so what are the immediate takeaways for people who attend the workshop?
From experience with the people that have come through our programs in the past, this is a 2-day workshop. I think they come in looking for the miracle of management when they walk in the door, thinking there's going to be some outcome that's going to cause their businesses to just prosper and get to the next level. I think what they tend to walk out of here is a sense of reality about why planning is important. I think they walk out of here with a sense of a need to create some form of a planning model. I think they walk out of here understanding that it's not in their best interest to experience their business. It's in their best interest to get in front of their business. I think that they should walk out of here understanding that the purpose of planning is to simplify the way your company runs and improve the communication. This should not complicate the company. It should simplify the company. And I think if we're successful, we get them to walk out of here saying it's not magic, it's logic. It's looking at all the things you could attack, it's looking at all the things you could do, and through a planning process, kind of culling through all those things and getting them down to the very few things where you have a chance to be successful. And I think we want them to really understand that there is no one process. There's a million ways to plan. And the second thing we want them to walk away with is that this plan does not have to be 100 pages. It can be a 1, 2, or 3-page document.
It sounds like the Strategic Management Workshop is a great starting point. What are the next steps?
Well, I think, once you've built a plan, that's just kind of getting to the dance. In order to make this thing a worthwhile business tool or process in your company, I'm now going to take it through implementation. So I've got to figure out how to take what I think is important, and I've got to figure out how to transfer that in everyday practice to what I do. So you go from strategic planning now to operational planning. And so what you're really doing is going from direction setting into execution or implementation. That involves a whole different layer of the organization. So the people who have come to the planning course, they're skilled to do direction. They're not really skilled to implement it because they're not working closely enough with the customer. So now what you have to do is get with the rest of the people in your company and make sure that everybody understands what you're trying to do, where they fit, and why it's to their benefit as well as to the benefit of the customer. Then I think it moves into the implementation side where we're executing exactly what do you do in serving a particular customer versus a particular competitor. And then the final step of that is quarterly reviews. That we can tell you for sure that if you don't review this process, it will die. And so we suggest a formal review process that's held every quarter that reviews where you are in your action plans. And it really reviews 5 key questions. First question is what's working as we expected. The second one is what isn't and then why not. Third question is what are our results versus the plan we had in place? Are we on target, above target, or below target? Fourth question is how are we doing on managing this? Is it succeeding in spite of ourselves? Is it succeeding because of our effort? We want to get a sense of what people did and what result happened. And the last thing we want to know is what changes do you recommend? And to make a good review process, it has to be a decision-making session, not just an information exchange session. So if I have an action plan, the actions I'm going to take each quarter are, do we continue it? Do we change the resources? Do we change its priority? Do we change the time frame? Or do we abandon it? But that whole series of steps from starting with direction, moving into operational planning, making sure the execution plan is in place, and then making sure the review process is in place is kind of a circular process desired to make sure, or put in place to make sure you achieve the results you desired. That's really the whole step process. And you keep coming back and revisiting it. 3 months from now, you're 3 months smarter. So you'll learn some things and you can go back and fix them. 6 months from now, you're going to realize some of the things you originally thought of aren't still valid. So you want to keep this as a roadmap and you want to keep this as a working process.
If someone's coming to the workshop, how should they get ready and what do they need to know?
I think, to learn the fundamentals and basics of planning, I probably don't need anything other than an open mind. Realistically, to make this a meaningful tool, I probably have to have experienced business life without a plan. And I can do this as an owner and say that I've attacked the things that have been right in front of me. I could do this as a senior executive in the firm, saying I handled the tasks that were put in front of me and I did some well and poorly. But I have to have some appreciation for the value of long-term thinking. I have to have some appreciation of doing more than just dealing with the issues on my plate. I have to have an appreciation of not responding to difficulties, but getting out in front and trying to be able to figure out how I want to orchestrate my behavior and my moods. So I think it really comes down to saying that, basically we can teach anyone to do planning. Realistically, you've got to think it's important before it's worth your time. And more often than not, to think it's important, you will have had to have experienced something that caused you to come back and say, now I need planning. More often than not, it's a crisis or chaos. I don't think anybody's ever come to us just for the basis or just for the purpose of learning planning. They've come to us because there's an issue or a challenge that they can't resolve and they're looking for a different way to attack it.
Thanks for taking the time to learn more about the Strategic Management Workshop. If you're ready to start planning for your future success, contact Aileron today and sign up for the next session.